Folks, I am incredibly excited about today's show. I have not one, but two fantastic guests. My first guest, you'll be familiar with him because he's that guy with the news that you see not on CNN or MSNBC. No, you see his news on TikTok. And I am sure you know his name. He is Aaron Parnas. And my second guest, he's a little bit divisive. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't ignore him because if you're scrolling on Twitter, you are bound to run into his content. He is Brian Krasenstein, and he has a Cybertruck. But first, before we get into all that, I want to discuss the onset of what the onset and return of Trumpism has done to America, and specifically to the news, to journalism. Audiences right now are frustrated because they're looking for something different. Back in the day, you used to be able to trust the news. You could trust them to responsibly report both sides of a story. But if one side is consistently batshit crazy and blatantly lying, people feel like it's the responsibility of journalists to step up and clear the picture. So that's why increasingly people today have been turning to my first guest for the news. And let me just put this here. They're like I said, they're not looking on cable TV. They're not looking in newspapers. They're looking on Twitter, and they're looking on TikTok. And here we go. Here he was featured in USA Today and in the Independent. There he is with a front page news article. It's incredible. And he is also featured in the Forbes 30 under 30. He's 26 years old. He's already in the Forbes list, and he's got the number one news Substack. It's the Parnas Perspective. This guy's amazing, and on top of it all, he's got 5.2 million TikTok followers. That is crazy. But above all of that, I think if you were to ask him, the thing that he is most impressed about, the thing he's most proud about, is that he's a new dad. So we're going to get into some things about Trump and Trump in China and his lousy cabinet and Cybertrucks and all that stuff. So I hope you're ready to get into it, because I am. Let's go. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Padelin, a.k.a. BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And as promised, my guest today is none other than Aaron Parnas. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited.
How are you feeling being a new dad? How is that fitting into your already incredibly busy and hectic schedule?
I'm exhausted, truly. I mean, the bags under my eyes tell a whole story. But it's an amazing moment. I'm just truly so happy, kind of on cloud nine. But it's just a constant, nonstop grind, whether with my daughter or online. So just got to keep up with it.
Yeah, indeed. So welcome to the Dad Club there. And before we go any further, I want to make sure, if this is your first time to the show, please make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button. Both of those help the algorithm for the show. They help us get noticed and get seen and get disseminated to the rest of the interwebs and YouTube. And today's show, the title is Trump is Cooked. Trump is saying some things these days that he's always saying some things that are crazy. But I think probably the craziest thing I've ever heard any politician say is that I'm not paying attention to Americans' financial situation. Aaron, you're paying attention to the news more than most of us.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how did that moment hit you when you heard it?
I kinda just laughed because it was kinda just like a culmination of months and months of just chaotic speak about the economy from the president, and then he comes out and just says, "You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna tell you how I really feel," and then now what, a day later, a PPI inflation this morning came out to 6% above the 4.9% that economists predicted. Core PPI inflation rose to 5.2%, above 4.3% expectations. They're at their 3+ year highs right now. And all while Trump is in China getting his little red carpet with, and the White House is promoting this. But at the end of the day, Americans are suffering, Americans are struggling. And I think that Trump, for the first time, made a mistake that may actually haunt him pretty badly when it comes to the midterms.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me step back to fatherhood for a minute, because as a new father,
Yes.
I want to know, has having a baby changed the weight of how you report the news, especially when you report on global conflicts like, the Iran crisis, for instance? Like, does it feel like these things matter more?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think now it's like I'm no longer just it's not this mentality of like, "Oh, when I'm gone, whatever, I'm gone." But now it's like I left someone who's gonna be here when I'm gone, and she's gonna have to now deal with it, right? And so, Bill, every parent wants to create a better world for their child than the one that they grew up in, and so I'm kinda now just experiencing that myself.
All right. So, Aaron, you've built a massive, massive following for yourself, and congratulations, by the way. I really, really am I'm awestruck. Awestricken, awestruck. Let's go with awestruck. Um, but by essentially being the anti clickbait. And when I say that, I mean, this is what I mean. Like, in order to get attention on a platform like TikTok, sometimes you got to be loud. Sometimes
Yeah,
you have to, and I've literally seen people screaming,
you
which,
gotta buy a Cybertruck. I'm kidding.
yeah. Shots fired.
No, no, no shots fired. No, truly none at all to joke. I like to be funny.
No, that was good. But
Thank you.
I want to know, how do you reconcile your very straightforward approach of reporting the news and working with the algorithm? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've kind of cracked the algorithm in the way that I found a niche, right? I think a lot of people are tired with the clickbait, or tired with the just like the crazy headlines all the time that's overwhelming and over consuming. And a lot of people just kind of want the facts, whether boring or not. If they are outrageous or not, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just the facts. And so I kind of just have my deadpan face every single time, use the same tone of voice every single video, and just deliver the facts. And it works. It works for me. It doesn't work for everyone. I think I'm serving a need for some people who want news in this way. And so, I mean, it works.
It's so funny to me because it's very natural. You come across very naturally, often like you're walking around,
Yeah.
you know you're outside, you're just doing your thing, and you're reporting the news, and it's you're not taking anything away from the news. It's just the way you deliver it is very relaxed. And what I want to know is, with traditional newsrooms kind of like shrinking at the
Yeah.
moment and trust at an all-time low, do you think that the Aaron Parnas model is the way forward for journalism, or is there a risk of creating a kind of, like an information silo?
I think there's always that risk. No, I don't think the Aaron Parnas model is the future for journalism. I think the Aaron Parnas model is the future for Aaron Parnas. And then I think everyone else should find their own ways of communicating news that's authentic to them. I think the biggest part of why been successful in the way that you mentioned is that it is me. It is authentically me. That is how I am in person. That is how I look in real life. If I have a bad hair day, it doesn't matter. Like I'm still posting and I still look like a mess. And I think people should find whatever is authentic to themselves and pursue that form of content creation.
Now, given the chaos of the Trump Xi summit and the Iran situation, what
Yeah.
specific data point or quiet detail are you seeing in the reporting that maybe the mainstream media is completely overlooking right now?
Well, I don't know that it's something that they're completely overlooking. I think it's like, so someone in Washington once famously told me that I in a time of crisis and a time of war, it's like scuba diving, right? Or like you're going on a boat on a vacation, and like some people will snorkel, some people will stay on the boat, some people will scuba dive, and then others will, very few, but one or two will do a very big deep dive. And the same thing when it comes to this war in Iran. Like you could report on the headlines and you could talk about the surface level stuff, or you could look at really why Trump hasn't actually struck Iran again. Like, what is he so afraid of? What does Iran have over him? What do the Gulf states have over him? What does China potentially have over him that is preventing him from actually going through on any one of his many threats since he stopped the war to restart it? Because he hasn't restarted it despite saying every other day that he's going to. And so that's something that I think that a lot of people are overlooking. Is I think that there is a bigger story here playing out. And it's not necessarily money related. I think there is something there that Iran may have over the president, or that the president knows Iran has, that he doesn't want to mess with. And I think China could play a part in that.
So everybody assumes that that's basically what Trump's main goal is to get China to assist in
Yeah.
shutting this Iran war down. Why would China play along? What do they have to gain out of this?
Oil. They need Iranian oil. Most, I think, what is it? A fifth of Chinese oil imports come from the Strait of Hormuz. So they are also hurting with the Strait of Hormuz being closed. They want the oil, but then again, China is a very large economy. China can survive a lot longer. And also, remember, China is a communist nation. It's not a democracy. There are no elections every 2 years. Xi Jinping could survive in power for a lot longer than Donald Trump can because he doesn't
Hmm.
have to answer to voters, whereas Trump really does. And so, if gas prices are soaring in China, at the end of the day, Xi is still in power. Gas prices at $6 a gallon of gas in November, tough luck to Republicans.
Should Taiwan be worried?
I think Taiwan should always be worried.
No, but I mean right now,
Right
as
now, I mean,
as Trump is desperate, he's desperate. He keeps projecting and saying Iran is desperate. They're not desperate. They've been miserable for a long time. They could be
yeah.
miserable a while longer, but who's he not willing to throw under the bus to get past this?
So my hot take, I actually don't. I think in this moment, the odds that China invades Taiwan are at their lowest point than they have been in a long time, and that's if you look
Hmm.
at internal Chinese politics. China just sacked multiple defense ministers, gave them suspended death sentences. Xi has been purging the military in China of those who he views as disloyal, and this is purely like Chinese reporting, like very hyper local stuff. Um, right now there's a deep disconnect within the Chinese defense apparatus, whether or not they'd have a Ukraine 2.0 or even an Iran 2.0 if they were to go after Taiwan. So I actually think right now China is at its lowest point when it comes to its ability to capture Taiwan.
See, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, how the hell, how the hell did you know that China just sacked their defense guys? What's up with that, dude? Where'd you get that from?
I read a lot.
Nice. All right, let me ask you this because I know we've got a hard cut.
Yeah.
Two quick questions, right? One is I want to know, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And two, if you were invited to be a part of the White House press corps and Trump was in the briefing room and you could say anything you wanted to say to him, what would you say?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think the first one, where do I see myself in 5 years? I see myself at my daughter's kindergarten graduation. That's where I see
Oh,
myself in 5 years. I
so good.
honestly, career wise, I don't plan out at all because whenever I plan, it's always wrong. So I don't know, and I don't try to predict it. As far as in the White House briefing room, if I could say one thing to Trump, I don't have one thing I would say to him. It would depend on the day, and what the news of the day. I would ask him a tough question, as a journalist should. about whatever news topic is of the day. I wouldn't go in there and try to confront him with the gotcha. I would do responsible journalism and just try to get a legitimate answer from the president. That's what I would do.
Interesting. So your first instinct is not to be a pissed off American, but to be a journalist.
It's not my job to be a pissed off American.
Interesting. Okay, so you see yourself not as an influencer, not as a lawyer, because I forgot to mention that also, folks, that Aaron is also an attorney. But you see yourself as a journalist first.
I do. Yeah, I do.
That's impressive. All right. Folks, this was Aaron Parnas, and you can find his stuff. Please, Aaron, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah,
He's all over the place, really.
all over the place, but primarily on Substack on the Parnas Perspective. So please go check that out, and I hope to be back here soon.
So I'm so glad that we were finally able to make this happen. I appreciate you taking out some time to sit with me here.
See you soon.
And say hi to your dad. Your dad was on the show with me like years ago.
Oh, will do.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron.
Take care.
And folks, that was guest number 1. I'm curious to know, what do you think Aaron should say if he's ever invited to be a part of the White House press briefing corps? Me personally, I mean, I'm not a journalist, but hang on a second. I'm not a journalist, but I do see myself more as a guy who would appreciate having the opportunity to tell Trump that he is a lying son of a bitch, and that that he should resign, and along those lines. Yeah. But yeah, put what you would tell him in the chat right now. And as we're waiting for Brian to pop up, I just want to say that Aaron is exactly the kind of person that I assumed he would be. I wouldn't say he's soft spoken, but he's just a nice guy. He's really, really very straightforward. He's like, what you see is what you get. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce my my second guest today. And with my second guest, there's a little bit of controversy that comes with this brother, right? That's no secret. And he's no stranger to it. And some might say that he invites it, but I think he is, I think he's riding the wave. I think he's going along with the controversy, or in spite of the controversy, but he's going to tell you how he feels in any case. And it is my pleasure to bring to you guys Brian Krasenstein. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, Majid, great to be here.
You and I, we've been in the same ecosystem, the same space for years. It's crazy that this is your first time on the show. So thank you so much for agreeing to be here with me.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure.
If you don't mind, I am most curious. Here's the question that is burning in my mind, and I'm sure in everyone else's mind. How do we tell you and Ed apart?
I'm slightly taller, I think like a quarter of an inch, and he's slightly heavier. He's probably about 2 pounds heavier than me. Other than that, I have a mole on my face. My kid punched me in the lip 2 days ago, so I have that too.
Okay, so you're saying Ed is fat?
Yeah. I think you could go with that. And short too. Ed's short and fat.
Oh shit. Okay. But really, the thing that I really wanted to get to is that about a week ago, you started something of a firestorm with a tweet of yours, and I'm going to put it up on the screen here because it's pretty funny when I saw it, and I saw the reaction to it. It's pretty funny. So here it says, "I might get hate for this too, but I bought a Cybertruck. With a young family, safety was important, and so is not polluting the atmosphere with $5 a gallon gasoline. So I agree. I'm going to start off by saying I agree with your thinking about, saving money on gas, right? Here's the thing. This guy, Brian, caught so much hate on this tweet. It's got 3.7 million views, which is that's a lot. That's a lot of views, right? So I wanted to join in the
I love
fun.
this.
I posted my own. I said I might get hate for this too, but I bought a Flintstones mobile. With the young family, safety was important, and so is not polluting the atmosphere with $5 a gallon gasoline.
That works too,
yeah, it's impossible because those things like weigh a couple of tons and they're foot powered. So here's what I want to know, Brian. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a kind of a backstory to it. I'm not like all of a sudden an Elon fanboy. I know some people think I am. My politics didn't change. My garage did. I don't suddenly love Trump. I just don't love him from a different vehicle. I actually had a Tesla for years and years and years before Elon went crazy. I had the charging thing in my garage. I have solar panel. I have battery backups. So like a Tesla makes sense for me. And sure, I could have gotten a different vehicle. There is another pickup. Rivian makes a pickup. It doesn't have self-driving. I'm used to self-driving. So, I mean, I was kind of in a box here. I get it. I get people are frustrated because they bought an Elon mobile. Like I said, I've had one for, I think like 4 or 5 years now. But yeah, I mean, I get the outrage. I'm not a huge proponent of cancel culture. I'm not a huge proponent of, making every decision in life based on like what company you're buying, what those companies are doing, because it would be chaos, right? It would be impossible to buy anything. It would be impossible to go to Amazon. It would be impossible to go to buy a Ford, right? Ford donated to Trump. So I don't know. I mean, it makes sense that people were angry, but I didn't mean it. The punchline was actually the $5 a gallon gas. And like I knew it might have been slightly controversial, but like when I posted that, I was thinking I'm gonna drive it home with a $5 a gallon gas for the MAGA folks, and it blew up. You actually said 3 million people saw it. It was actually 48 million because Elon Musk retweeted another post quoting it. So it was crazy. Like I got so many calls from people. I got people like, "Oh, you got a Cybertruck? What the hell, dude?" I see people at the gym and they're like, "You got a Cybertruck?" Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I offended you.
Yeah, Elon quote tweeted here, said, "Only when you drive the Cybertruck do you realize how incredible it is. A bulletproof tank that moves like $1 million sports car. Reason for the angular shape is that the thick, ultra hard stainless steel body panels cannot be stamped like the thin, feeble, paper strength, mild steel of other trucks. Cybertruck body panels would break 5,000-ton stamping machines." Now, here's my perspective, right? It's your money, right? You earned it. You get to choose. Nobody is buying your car, right? So at the end of the day, what you buy is your business, right? But how Twitter works, there's always a but. How Twitter works is that when you share with the audience, you're saying, "Hey guys, what do you think?" Right?
Yeah.
So in that regard, people were saying it seems calculated. It seems like you did it intentionally to get a rise out of people. What do you have to say to that?
I mean, it's social media. Like it was, the main point was a $5 a gallon gas. I'll be lying if I said I didn't think it was going to get a rise out of some people, but like that was kind of like the point also, in that, like, I think we had to get past these cancel culture wars. I think we had to get past some of these battles that don't really mean anything. Like I'm a fan of EVs. I'm a fan of the environment, right? The goal should be EV adoption, cleaner transportation, right? Better choices, not turning, against brands because the CEO donated money somewhere else, right? So yeah, it created a conversation. I actually thought a lot of it was funny. It became kind of like a meme where people were posting vehicles, making fun of me, and like if I didn't have thick skin, then maybe I'd be bothered by it. But after being on Twitter for like 13 years, it's hard not to, especially
Yeah.
nowadays.
Ed, I see Ed threw you under the bus too. He's like so Brian's brother Ed posted, for the record, I do not own a Tesla Cybertruck. I own 2 foreign-made vehicles, one electric, one gas. He says, I'm the better twin. I still love Brian though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still the better twin, I think. But yeah, I mean, maybe you prefer Ed buying a German vehicle instead of an American vehicle. No, I mean, everybody's going to have their own preferences. They're all going to make their own decisions. Like I said, I'd go crazy if I made every decision based on morals, the morals of those companies I'm buying from. Like Jeff Bezos donated to the Trump inaugural campaign, his fund. Ford did, Google did, Microsoft did. So, I mean, you go crazy literally trying to weed out everybody that didn't in some way help Trump.
All right.
And
so
yeah, Elon, of course, went way over. He donated $350 million. So I get the outrage, but I mean, I guess I had to deal with that.
I want to make a point here, right? Because you did post later on, you did post an excellent tweet, I thought, involving the purity, the purity test, right? But before I get into that, I do want to say that Elon Musk has been a prick to a lot of us, right? He's been a prick to the segment of the car buying world that actually believes that climate change is real. The people who would be more inclined to buy one of his vehicles because of climate change. The climate change deniers are the ones that he has nestled himself with for some bizarre reason. It also seems like the Twitter space that we previously were all, we had all kind of figured out, right? We had cultivated our audiences. We'd spent time building up followers and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And then he came along and just kicked everything down and siloed everybody to the point where we can't even, everybody feels like they're throttled to some extent.
Yeah.
And so it did feel like, oh man, like you went and gave this dude like $100,000 for that ugly ass vehicle. I'm sorry, Brian, but my wife and I always we point and laugh whenever we see a Cybertruck. But here is what you wrote, which I thought was excellent. Says, FYI, if you're on X attacking me for buying a vehicle I like because it benefits Elon Musk, you may want to think that one through. Every time you post here to criticize me, you're helping Elon's other company and likely training or feeding the ecosystem around XAI in the process. That's the problem with purity tests. Almost nobody passes them. If you want to trace the political contradictions behind nearly every product, platform, app, service, bank, car, phone, grocery store, streaming service, or AI tool you use, go ahead and use and ask Grok or ChatGPT or Claude. The truth is, modern life is full of compromises. I bought a vehicle I like. You're posting on Elon's platform to yell at me about it. Maybe we can all climb down from the hypocrisy Olympics for a minute.
Yeah, I think it's important that people realize when you're buying a product, you're not always endorsing the CEO. Like Tesla has tens of thousands of employees, American employees. I know some Tesla employees who are Democrats. I know plenty of Democrats that drive Teslas. Maybe most of them bought them before Elon went crazy. But I do think that the Cybertruck is kind of like the symbol of Elon Musk, whereas before I had a Tesla and I got no hate for it. But as soon as I bought the Cybertruck, that changed. But yeah, I think it's hard to go, if we're going to go down that path, you're going to drive yourself crazy. And it's obviously like Elon. I'm not a fan of what Elon's doing politically. He's attacked me. He told me that he was going to investigate to see if I broke the law and then have my account removed if I did, which was like, what are you even talking about?
How did he think you
Called me
broke
a
the?
retard, right? So like I'm not like, we're not on good terms, but like I don't make that judgment based on just him. And some people do, and I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'd lie if I say I never forewent a product because of a CEO or of somebody I didn't like at the company. But this made sense for my family, and that's what I did. And if you don't like it, I don't mean to sound crude, but too bad.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, at the end of the day, none of us matter. It's you have to do what's right for yourself and for your family. Period.
Yeah, I think like don't get thrown off track by little debates like this, because of course, like, I kind of brought it upon myself, but like the point is, like, these aren't the big issues. Whether I bought a Cybertruck or not, that's not the big issue. The big issues are what Trump's doing in the White House right now, and undermining democracy and possibly the 2026 elections. Like, concentrate on that stuff. Of course, Twitter, you're going to have fun. You're going to have people that are, obviously always looking to create some drama, which I sparked for sure.
It did seem for a while, I'm going to be honest, it did seem for a while that you were a little bit cozy with Elon. And when I say that, I mean, like, there was a time that I could not get away from Elon's tweets because they were being force fed to my my homepage or whatever. Every time I'd open up Twitter, like the top 3 tweets would be Elon tweets, and there in the replies, you would be there with you, like, replying to his stuff. And I was like, wow, what is this guy doing? Why? And I guess why were you doing that?
Well, so like, if you go back and read my replies, it was like actual like debates. Like, I wasn't agree. Most of my replies weren't agreeing with him, at least not on the political issues. They were pushing back on him. And I mean, you can search Google and you'll see, like, there's like Brian Krasenstein debates Elon Musk over George Soros. That all of that. There's a big thing blew up over that. So like most of it was just to have that public conversation. He was getting no pushback, and I felt like if I did it in a respectful way, I could at least maybe change his mind. Probably not, but at least publicly add that influence in there and get other people to see the other side of things, because he had this had this monopoly on everybody's attention for years since he's purchased Twitter. So I think that was it, and obviously, like, obviously I got followers from it, and I got attention from it, which helped me build a brand. But like the main goal was to get that conversation going, get the other side in there.
I want to pick your brain because you just said it, like a few seconds ago. You got a lot of followers from it, right? It's no secret that you are savvy when it comes to Twitter. When I said, if you're on Twitter and you're scrolling, there's no way you won't see a Brian Krasenstein tweet. That wasn't a dig at you. That's how it is. You are all throughout, you are all around Twitter, and you've figured out how to make it work for you. So for one, you said, by engaging in polite debate with Elon, that got you a lot of followers. But I want to ask you this, right? If we, and by we, I mean like-minded, left-leaning, democratic, liberal tweeters, right? If we engage in polite debate or engage with other right-wing accounts, are we not then helping their algorithm, helping to give them more monetization for their tweets? Because, as you know, the more people that engage with your tweet, it blows up, and then if their account is monetized, boom, they get a crazy big payoff, right? Is that not how it
Yeah,
works?
I mean that's a really good question. Like what, like it's kind of like you're trapped between a rock and a hard place. Should I reply and add this other dimension to the conversation? That, I mean, X is an echo chamber already. Should I let it become even more of an echo chamber, or should I add my reply and possibly, enhance the engagement of the original post, which might actually be counterproductive to what you're trying to do? So, I mean, the algorithm's changing constantly. You constantly see the way the algorithm works. You constantly see how the monetization works. And I don't know the answer, like I feel that sometimes I just want to reply to somebody. I just want to give my 2 cents. But other times I'm like, is this really what's best? Like, is this just going to blow up the original message and people won't even read the reply? It's tough.
Here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that your tweets actually tend to have very healthy replies, but the average liberal or Democrat that's on Twitter right now starved, starved for replies, and that is because there have been movements that said, and they targeted you too. I did see them target you specifically, saying, "Stop feeding his." People were like, stop replying to Brian Krasenstein's tweets because he's making money every time you reply. And so they went on this campaign where they were trying to deny people on the left from getting replies, and they did that very effectively. I think there was no similar movement on our side. So meanwhile, the right wing Twitter sphere is ballooning. I don't know if you saw that. There's like a chart with all these the circle charts, right? And so it shows like right wing influence has grown beyond belief. It looks like they've got like 70% of the Twitter sphere, and the rest of us have the crumbs along the outside.
Well, that's another debate, right? Like I think at least partial reason for that. I mean, the main reason is Elon took over and all the right wingers came on board. But a partial reason is that Democrats went to Bluesky because they didn't want to deal with Elon or help Elon out, which I'm not against. I have a Bluesky account. I post often, but a lot of them just left and didn't come back. So it becomes even more of an echo chamber. So is that should we leave or should we stay and make it a worse of an echo chamber? That's another question, right? Like, obviously you stayed, I stayed. I had people, originally saying I shouldn't stay. And still there's people that say that.
I stayed because I didn't want to cede that space, because Twitter, whether you like it or not, is still considered like the town square, right? It is still the place where most people are going. Like, I think Bluesky has expanded to something like maybe 40 million users, right? Give or take 5 or 10 million. But Twitter is like in the hundreds of millions. I said a few minutes ago, I wanted to pick your brain, and I wanted to just ask you, for our viewers, what kinds of tips or tricks can you share with our viewers to help them grow their account, or to help them get better engagement on a tweet?
Yeah, I mean, I think just be direct and get as much information as you can into as short of a post. If you know anything about the internet, people have the attention span of like a gnat. So if you can get a lot in, keep people interested from the very beginning, whether it's a video or whether it's a text post. I think videos do a lot better now, and I think with video you're able to kind of string. I don't want to say string people along, but build up to something and make it quick and short. Yeah. And that's what the internet loves these days. That's why, TikTok and Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels, they're all doing so well, because it's quick, pungent, like it's just really just powerful, right? You just want something powerful.
Have you figured out yet what the Twitter bosses are talking about when they say that they're changing how Twitter works? So like, you can't just bring a video over from, because what I've seen you do you've been doing this for well over a year, is that you'll take a video and you'll crop it differently. You'll do like a 1-to-1 ratio, so it's square instead of what do you call
Yeah, the
landscape.
yeah.
But do you know what I'm talking about? They said you can't just bring a video over from TikTok or from Instagram and post it like 10 other people have done. We're going to deboost those things. So
Yeah, like
what do you make of
I
that?
crop videos. I crop them mostly just because it fits the screen better, so that if it's larger up and down, people are on the post longer. But like I don't think that's gonna get through any AI filter that searches for duplicate content. I don't think that would do that. That's not the reason I do that. But I don't know exactly how X or Twitter is going to work that out, because there's just so much like even the original content that people post isn't original. It's from like TikTok, right? There's just so many accounts like that. So how can they tell if it was original from this user, right? Like if I posted your content from TikTok on my stream, there's no AI that's going to be like, oh, that's not Brian Krasenstein, that's Brooklyn Dad. Demonetize that or engagement it, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think that a lot of what they say, they're just saying to try and cut down on things that people are doing, even though they might not have an actual solution.
I want to shift gears a little bit. Yesterday, I think it was, Kash Patel was in front in a Senate hearing, and as usual, he showed his ass. And first of all, I want to get your opinion. What do you think about Kash Patel? Is he like literally the worst FBI director we've ever had?
I'm actually really surprised he hasn't been fired yet. Last month I thought he'd be fired by the end of May, and I still thought that, but I mean, as May goes on, I don't know. I think that he's just catering to Trump because he knows that if he doesn't, he's gone. Just like Pam Bondi, she finally did some things that he didn't like, and she was gone. I think Kash Patel is horrible for the FBI. I think the morale at the FBI is terrible. I think that what he's doing, the destruction he's causing at the FBI, is going to last for a decade or more, because so many of these people are leaving, and the people coming in are people that are, just trumpeters and MAGA. So it's scary, because these are the people protecting us in, times of terrorist attacks. These are the people that are doing counterterrorism expeditions and trying to figure out what's going to happen next. And you have a bunch of, nutcases running that place.
Mm-hmm. I just want to play a quick clip from the hearing yesterday and get your take on this one.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
I have not lied to Congress.
I didn't ask you that.
Lied to Congress is you. And
I'm not testifying here, sir, and I don't lie.
Maybe the next time you run up a $7,000 bar tab, we can talk about it.
Well, see, I'm glad that you have agreed to take the test regarding, whether you have alcohol problems. I'm glad you agreed with me to do that. You still haven't answered my final question. Do you know, Mr. Director, that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that?
I do not lie to Congress.
I didn't ask you that.
You're insinuating that I am.
I asked you whether you know.
You want to correct your time in this session where you got steamrolled by the facts so you can have a Twitter narrative.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is...
Okay. What was going through your mind as you were watching that clip from the hearing yesterday?
Yeah, this guy is as guilty as hell. I mean, just say, yeah, I know it's a crime. Don't just start. He basically lied in trying to protect his lie by saying that Van Hollen was drinking margaritas in El Salvador. So it's like that's the behavior you'd look for if somebody was lying. And I think Van Hollen called it out correctly, and it made Kash Patel look like a fool.
Yeah, I feel like Yeah, I don't know if you ever seen that meme where they say do something or draw 25. It's like like with the Uno cards. It's like answer a straight question or draw 25. you know,
Yeah,
um,
and it's funny, and it's not funny, but like it's sad that like all of these people that are testifying from Trump's cabinet or from Trump's administration, all they do is they have a list of things that they can attack the questioner about, so that they can
yeah,
distract and move and not answer the question they're asked. And like Congress needs to do a better job at keeping these hearings under control and directing the attention to the person on this that's being asked the question, the witness, then rather than the Congress people asking the questions. And obviously
yeah,
that's not happening because Republicans control the House. But I think it's transparent, right? Like it makes, whether it was Pam Bondi or Kash Patel or whoever else testifies, it's the same thing. And I think the American people are catching on, like, why isn't he answering the question?
yeah. It's a little, for me, it's a little less painful when you watch a hearing in the House, because at least there, you have the member of Congress saying, reclaiming my time. And I don't see people doing that in those Senate hearings. I don't think that's a thing in the Senate. So it did feel at times like Chris Holland, Chris, what is his last name?
Yeah, Chris Van Hollen.
Chris Van Hollen seemed a little meek,
Yeah.
like not up to the task of facing off against Kash Patel. He did not seem prepared for that exchange.
He
I
did
want to,
get that test though, right? Like he got Kash Patel to promise to take, but he's just gonna fill out whatever he wants, and it's not gonna matter.
yeah. I mean, there is no.
I guess with that, the only thing that could happen is that he fills it out, he lies, and then you have all these people saying, no, he drinks more than three drinks a week. Like maybe that would come out, and then it'd be like, oh, he lied on it. But
Interesting. It could be, but I've already seen multiple cabinet members lie in Senate or in congressional hearings. I've seen them lie under oath, and I haven't seen anybody be held accountable for it. I think it's still perjury, right? Whether you're in a court of law or whether you're in front of the Congress. Am I right?
yeah, lying to Congress is illegal. It's a crime. But they probably all know, hey, I'm going to get a pardon at the end of Trump's term. So who cares? I'll lie about whatever I want as long as Trump likes it. If I don't lie, then Trump won't pardon me if I do something else illegal.
Mm, mm, mm. Speaking of Trump, yesterday, Donald Trump probably said the most insane thing any president has ever said. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. What's your what's your take on that?
The truth slipped out. And I think he's going to regret saying that, because the media is blowing that up. And, you have $4.51 gasoline right now, and it's probably going to go up to $5 before all this is said and done. It just looks horrible. Like it's almost like he's shooting himself in the foot. It's crazy. If I was in Congress, running for Congress, and I was a Republican, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were advising the Democrats on a viral response to this moment, what is the one image or phrase that they should be hammering?
I think that, how many times has Donald Trump said on the campaign trail that he was going to cut energy prices in half in his first year? Right? Like,
Yeah.
and that means electricity, it means gasoline, it means diesel, it means whatever, right?
Yeah.
But none
Yeah.
of that's even down. It's all up, and up
Yeah.
substantially. So I think just replaying that, and then showing the gas price, showing the diesel price, showing the electric bills. Like I just heard somewhere in Indiana, like they're paying like $500 a month for electricity. And a lot of it has to do with the data centers, but it's policies that aren't, protecting them.
What's your prediction for the midterms this year?
I think Democrats are definitely going to win the House. The Senate's going to be close, but I think that if they can win Michigan, I think that there's a definite path for them to, take this House and the Senate.
Interesting. Why Michigan?
So Michigan's it's an interesting state. You have multiple candidates running for the Democrats that, there's a lot of stress between the candidates. There's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of rivalry between the Democrats. And if a certain Democrat wins, it's going to be tougher than if a different one wins. And I don't have their names off the top of my head, but if Michigan, if Democrats are strong enough to win Michigan, which is very debated right now, then I think they'll be strong enough to win some of these other states where it might be tight races, close races. But I'd say 50-50 right now for the Senate. And if Republicans keep screwing up, and if this Iran thing doesn't, settle in the next month, I can't imagine how Democrats won't win both. And I think that if it's going to take 3 to 4 months from whenever the Strait of Hormuz reopens, if it ever does, for gas prices to, drop below probably $4 a gallon. And that pretty much butts it right up against the midterms. So, yeah. I mean, Trump has weeks, maybe a month to really, fix this thing, which I don't see him doing.
I literally saw somebody yesterday, one of those economists on TV, saying that she said, if the war were to end tomorrow, which is today, she said it would still be many months before prices got back under $4. And she said it would be guaranteed that we'd be looking at $5 per gallon gas by the end of May.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of what happens, gas is going to go up. There's no doubt that we're going to see higher gas prices, even if tonight Trump announces that the Strait is reopened and there's no mines in it. So he's screwed there. The ironic thing is that, this was all Republicans talked about, was inflation and gas prices under Biden. Biden had nothing to do with, any of that. It was Russia, the Ukraine war. It was the reopening after COVID. Trump has a direct line. You can draw a direct line from Trump's action to why gas prices are higher. And it's all him on this. You can't even blame another country.
Can I tell you, it drives me nuts that that anytime somebody brings up to a Republican that gas prices are high and people are suffering, their canned response is always, well, that's the price of ensuring we don't have a nuclear Iran. So that's essentially that's their boogeyman. That's their you can't prove that they weren't going to go nuclear, but we already know from their own intel agencies, that 17 or 18 intel agencies, we're all like, yeah, no, they're not. There's not an imminent threat of them going nuclear.
Yeah, I mean, Obama with the JCPOA, he prevented them from going nuclear, and not a single person died, and gas didn't go up a penny from it, right? So it's just a moot point. Trump could have done a lot more, in order to prevent the war than he did. The war didn't have to happen. He could have not torn up Obama's agreement, and the international community, which the international community said was working and preventing them from enriching uranium past, what was it, 60%. I think it was actually 3.97% was what it capped it at. But Obama succeeded, Trump failed. I think it's that simple.
What do you think Trump comes away from his visit to China with, if anything?
Yeah, I think that Republicans are trying to build this up to be some sort of grand deal, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's probably going to be extensions of, all our trade agreements we already had, maybe mineral agreements we had, rare earth agreements that we already had. I don't think we're going to get much new. I mean, maybe some things like Boeing building airplanes for them, or little things like that. But I think that MAGA is going to be disappointed again. And I don't think it's going to help anything economically in the United States. The tariffs probably will remain in effect. Well, I guess they won't, because he lost the last court battle for the 10% tariffs for the second time. So maybe they won't, but at least he's going to keep trying.
I can pretty much guarantee you that he is going to announce $1 trillion in investment commitments from China, and which is basically, throw that log onto the fire with the other 17 or 18 trillion dollars that he claimed, that all these countries have come to him. And
you think it's a trillion? You don't think it's going to be like maybe a quadrillion?
Yeah, no, it'll be within still insane, but not quadrillion. No. Yeah, at least 1 trillion, maybe 2. Maybe he'll say 2 trillion. Who knows? Because he's still exaggerating about how many wars that he's ended. I wish somebody would ask.
I think it's 10 now, right? 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think he'll see when he says they committed to this much money, he can just make up whatever he wants, because none of that money is actually coming to the United States. It's just a company that promises, or he says promises, to spend money over the next decade. So that's just his go-to when he has nothing else. Oh yeah, I really won this trade war because I got a promise from a company in another country that didn't really promise to do anything for another 5 years, right?
That's right. One last question for you. I'm just curious, in the area that you live, are there a significant number of MAGA?
Yeah, I live in Lee County, Florida, and last election it went 69% red and 31% blue. Yeah, so it's like a very, very red county. I was going to ask,
can you tell if they're grumbling about the gas?
Yeah. With that said, like I go to a gym locally here, and it's usually older people there. Most of them, I presume, Republican, because they're in this county and they're older. But I've had so many people come up to me, recognize me from social media, and just say things like, yeah, I mean, what is Trump doing? Like, people that I thought were going to come up and punch me in the face came up and hugged me. So that's a good sign, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, in a red county, it's sometimes tough, but you find groups that are blue, and I still have friends who voted for Trump, but I mean, most of my friends are, Democrats.
Very cool. Very cool. Brian, I want to thank you for agreeing to come on the show with me. It's nice that we finally got you on the show, and I hope I can get you back on here at some point in the future.
Yeah, if you're ever down in Florida, let me know, and I can take a picture of you in my Cybertruck. I'm kidding. I won't do that. I won't do that to you.
That's funny, but yeah, I'll take you up on that. That'll be it. That'll be hilarious.
Thanks. Thanks, Majid.
So do me a favor, just hang on 1 second while I sign off with my folks here. Yeah. And folks, thank you for joining me for another episode for another fun episode of the Defiant Weekly. I'm your host, Majid Bedelin, aka BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad Defiant. And as always, I look forward to seeing you guys here next week, same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. Incredible person, incredible human being. Yes, famous. Yes.